So I do have to swap in between screens, so new technology all around. So the training session does take about 40 to 45 minutes, and the purpose of this training session is for you guys to get familiar with the training and really just to set your reading levels for your students, know how to, for independent and shared reading. So I'm going to go through how to do those groups, and just to get started, get the kids reading. There's lots of different components to Wushka, which I will give you an overview, but you won't take in all this information today. I think it's just important that you understand how to set your levels, your reading groups, and how to get that the logins out to the students. So you'll also have the opportunity throughout this session to ask my colleague Louise, who's joined us today, and she will answer any questions throughout. We're also taping or recording this session, so you can get a copy of it if you like. And we'll have hopefully a couple of minutes at the end to run an open forum with questions that I should be able to answer for you. If you're after any documents or any support around what we're going to talk about today, or have any further questions, the best contact is support@wushka.com.au, and Louise will probably put that in the chat a few times as well. So contact them, so they'll send out that information to you, or get your MTA rep to give you a call. So what we recommend for Wushka is a Google Chrome also. Now I'm just going to switch screens. Now I can see a few comments in there of what platforms you guys are all reading and all that sort of thing. So we'll, Wushka will fit in and work with anything. It's cloud-based. I'm just going to jump out of here and share. So hopefully you can see the Wushka login screen that we have, I have on the screen now. And I'm going to turn my camera off also. You'll just hear the audio. Before I log into Wushka, for those that don't know the program, just to give you a bit of an overview, there's over 650 leveled books. They start from level 1 and they go all the way to 31++. So they do cater for kindy, prep, all the way to year 6 to about a 12, 13-year-old student. We do have a correlation chart available, which will help you allocate the Wushka readers with readers you're currently using with other publishers. So whether it's F&P, Reading Recovery, or PMs, whatever you might be using, we have a correlation chart for easy allocation. Now, I mentioned that Wushka is cloud-based, so there's no app, there's no games. The cloud is in Australia also. If I'll just mute you all, and just a reminder, if you could put your turn off your camera and microphone if you could, please. Okay. We're just waiting. That's okay. Michelle, if you could turn your video off when you're ready, that would be wonderful. Thank you. So Wushka has a comprehension focus as well. So at the end of each book, we have multiple choice questions. So how these quizzes are relevant to each reading level. So as the school readers become more advanced, so do the questions. So lower level quizzes and use questions that determine recall and basic understanding of the main ideas and concepts found within the text. Quizzes then progress into prompting students to apply and analyse knowledge. In the highest levels, students are provided with questions that encourage synthesis and evaluation of hypothetical scenarios related to the text. So all of these quiz questions are structured around the Blues hierarchy model of questioning. So they are specific. They're not just plucked out of nowhere. They're specific questions. We have also with the program comprehensive teacher notes. So I'm going to be showing you all this. Great support materials, including Blackline Masters. We have a read-along narration with every book. So we'll go through and show you that. But the lower levels, they'll highlight each word and they will be slow. because they're for that student to read along. So it's great for that remote learning when the students are at home. You can also use these books as big books, so it's really good for that oral language. We have statistics for students and for teachers, so the students can see these at home and the parents. So there's two parts really for Wushka, and I saw in the chats already that some will want to use it for independent or take-home reading, and some want to use it for their guide instructional reading. You can use it for both. So it's wonderful that you're using this resort for this remote learning, but Wushka has been around for a while, and for 4 years actually, but the readers come from Learning Media, and it's been developed for a long time from way back over when New Zealand government used to run them. So a lot of people have heard of Learning Media, so we haven't reinvented the wheel here. We just put them on a digital platform to make it easier access and more engaging for the students. So you would have all received a login, hopefully, to activate your Wushka logins. If you haven't, again, contact support@wushka.com. And if you have probably already jumped in and have a little look, but I'm going to start from the login page. You just need to go to wushka.com.au for so can you see my Wushka login screen? Okay, sorry guys. Can we see it now? My colleague Louise is texting me, showing me. Is that good now, Louise? Login screen is showing asking if. Okay.
It's all good, Julie.
It's all good. Oh, you've texted me 10 times. Okay, sorry about that, everyone. We're now on the login, the Wushka login, and we have three logins. There's the coordinator, the teacher, which you guys would have got, and we also have the student login. So we'll be talking today about the student, the teacher and the student. So we'll be flicking in between the student for you to see when you set up a group, what the student actually views, if that makes sense. So I'm going to click on the student dashboard. And here are our cards. So we're going to be mainly talking about the managed class and the managed reading groups today, and then jumping into the student login, which you can from your login screen. If you scroll down the bottom, we have helpful resources, and I usually like to start with that because it's support for you guys and continuing that pathway with the parents at home. So on the left-hand side, we have all the resources for Wushka, and we've got a few on this side now. They've moved it around again. We're adding to it constantly. So we have a download teacher set up here. So anything that you've forgotten or want to go over, please jump onto this and download. It's got a step-by-step guide. Now this is our correlation chart. And we have here a few of the publishers to put in alignment with the Wushka colour wheel, as you can see there. If we scroll down, we have support materials for reading assessment. Now I do like you to maybe download this and print it out because it gives you information on what readers I'm very sorry, my colleague keeps texting me. Can't you see my screen? Can you just put in the chat because I'm not too sure. Chat screen, I'm just going to have a look. Yeah, everyone can see? Yep, I can see it. Great. Sorry, I'll just keep getting a text to say they can't, but as long as you can, that's all good. Okay, continuing on. So this assessment, it actually shows you how to do a reading assessment using Wushka material. So you can do reading assessment and use these books with anything you currently got. Wushka fits in nicely with any other program. But if you want to do an assessment using these resources, download this document and it shows you how to do it. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I'm just, directing you along this line to have a look at it. So it shows you how they use the word cards and sequence strips. And you can see it has sequence strips with an S here, and I'll show you what that means in a minute. And discussion cards with a D, and what the discussion cards are for. So discussion cards are for the literal questions, the inferential questions, and the personal response questions. So they're really good to use outside of not just the reading assessments. You can use these within your reading groups. You can send these documents to your students as well. Now you can see when you scroll down, these books have a W on it, which means they have a word card attached to it. So not every book has an assessment resource with it. They're not all of them have a discussion card or a sequence strip. You do so many assessments you have so many books for assessment per level, and it shows you which one to choose in the book box that will have that assessment, if that makes sense. So if I keep scrolling down, and I'm just going to point out one book. As we scroll down, you see these ones have the sequence strips. It has an S on the bottom. And these ones have a sequence strip and a discussion card. So I'm just going to point out a good idea here. And we're going to go and follow along with that book as we put them into the groups. Okay, just make sure, good. Go back there. So if you want to download that, it's a good resource for you guys. If you keep going down, we've aligned them with the National English Curriculum, if you need to have that as well as a document. Across the bottom, we have literacy progress markers. Now, this is another really good resource for you guys. It's aligned with the literacy continuum. So it's like a checklist, and we run from levels 1 to 22 for this. So it's another document to print out for your assessment. So I just go back, and on this right hand side we have done templates up, which a new one is tips for parents. So I would recommend that you send that off with your parents, with your student logins to send to parents. It just gives them tips on about and what Wushka is. And it even has that before, that, during and after reading. So it really is a good tip. So you can send that, download that and send it out to your parents, which is fantastic. And then we have student logins as well, and some information about Wushka you can download and send into your Facebook posts, Facebook links. So this student login is a letter that you can, we're changing it to be digital, where you can actually physically type or copy and paste the student's login details into here. So that should be up and running very shortly. You can email support@wushka.com and they will send it to you now. So it's a really good opportunity to send that along with that tips out to your parents. Okay, so going into the reading boxes. So you can access that down the bottom here. We've got icons down the bottom, up the top on the right hand side, or we even have them on the front icon box on the cards. So the Wushka, you can see it's loading. There's 650 plus books. So these books are a mixture of different text types, different comprehension strategies, fiction over non-fiction. How do you filter through all these books and use them for specific reasons? And it's very teacher-driven, this program. So how do you find them? And that's the beauty of a digital resource as well. So I'll give you an example of how to open up a book box. So you can hit C+, open up the book box, and you scroll down, and there's about 60 books within that book box, and it goes all the way down to 31 plus. And there's a range of different, the higher level of high interest short text, which are good for those older students, chapter books. So how do you filter through all these? We have a filter button. So let me show you how to use it. It's a really good tool on the program for teachers. So you can actually sort by a lot of different ways, by title, by a theme. So that's really good for inquiry-based learning, and you might be, or even want to set up a particular project that you might be working on. And please excuse my dog in the background, the hazards of working from home. And when we go, so you might want to choose maths, natural disasters, whatever it might be, you want to work on a particular theme. You could also choose fiction over non-fiction. And one of the favourites is comprehension strategy. So you can actually filter the levels within the book boxes by a particular comprehension strategy and work on that skill. So finding my main idea and click filter results. And you can see it filters all the books per level. So it's really good even for remote learning if you want to use it for your guided reading for particular strategy you're working on. Then what you do is I'm just going to reset that and go and find my Rhino book that I showed you before, which is in this book box here, 12 to 14. Good idea. And the reason I chose this one, I'll have a look, I'll open it up and I'll show you. Now you can see down the bottom here, all the support materials. So it has a Blackline Master, which is a comprehension activity here. It has a discussion card. You can do a reading record and it has a sequence strip. Now all these support materials can be downloaded for you to send out to your students. Now over up the top here, we have a brief description, more detail about the book. We have an activity at the end of the book. Now the students get to see this, but that's about it. They don't get to see all the rest of this down the bottom, and I will show you what they get to view. They also have a printable version with and without the text. Now a lot of teachers use the wordless version for creative writing. So you could use how you might have a remote learning class, you want to choose a particular book, use it as a big book and everyone can view your screen. You can use it for the oral language too if you like. And then you could actually send them the wordless version and you could, they could write and create their story and send it back to you. So there's another way you could use it. We have all the metadata down here and you can see it's fiction, non-fiction, what level it's on, how many words, and the high frequency words as well. So that's a really handy data that you might want to use. And we do have available if you would like. Again, go to support@wushka.com and we have a document that lists all our high frequency words for the books. Okay, so I'm going to open up the book and I would demonstrate this to the students. So you just press play. And to hear the audio, the narration of the book, you press play up the top right-hand corner. We're not going to do that today, but you arrow and open up the book and you just keep arrowing until you get to the end of the book. And we're just going to go through quickly because we're on a time frame here, and just demonstrate to the students as well to close the book. And the reason why that's important with the little X button up the top right-hand corner, and why that's important, it actually captures the statistics for the student. So if they come back to you and say, I've read that book, we did 5 books this week and there's no statistics, the reason why is they're not closing the book properly. So it's quite important to demonstrate that as well. Now this is asking, would you like to start the quiz? Now I've got, because it's under my login, it's compulsory, it's optional, but you can set it up to be either for the students. I'll show you how to do that as well. And so I'm just going to get started. So here's a sample of a good idea of the quiz at the end. So they just get to choose. Now it's really, this has been developed for guided reading, for instructional reading. So it's for a teacher to sit around with the student and discuss the book, discuss these questions. You can use it for independent, but it has been developed for that reason. It's great for if they've got a support with parents at home, also a discussion about the book. And it's all that before, during and after reading as well. They just choose their answer. So you could, if you're doing a guided reading class remotely, the students will need to log in, but they can still hear your audio. So you could have your book open, they could have their book on the screen, and they could hear you speaking and going through it. And so they choose the answer, they choose next. There's typically 5 questions per book. And I'm just ticking the first one and they'll get a result straight away. 2 out of 5. Feedback we get from schools, if they don't like that response, they will go back and read the book and go through it again. I will also show you how they can review those questions and which ones they got right and which ones they got wrong. Okay, so we've got 10 minutes. So I'm going to go back into closing the book, and we're going to go into reading groups now. So back on the dashboard, so easy to navigate. We're going to go and manage class. So your classes should be all set up, and this is my demonstration login. So I'm going to click on my year 3 to 4, and here are all my students. So anything that has a little blue dot underneath, you can change. Anything that doesn't, which is only the username, you can't change. And the reason why the username can't be changed is because that picks up the statistics for that student. Now, just to let you know, all this information here can be rolled over to the next year as well. So that's a really another good tool for the program. All that data can move across. So you can, if there's a misspelled of a name, you can change it if you like. If you're not happy with the password, you can change that as well. And how you change that is you can do it as a class, or you can change it independently here. And just also make sure you click the tick box when you change anything. So if you go up to manage class here, you can see it says set class password. So you can change it to whatever you like. 1, 2, 3, set class password. I would make sure all this is done before you send out your letters, okay? So the next one column along says reading level. Now, please keep in mind, this is an independent reading level. So this is where a student logs in and 24/7, and you want it to be easy reading for them. So if they're on a level, say a 12 currently for their guided reading, you're not going to put them on a 12 here in the reading level because it's too hard for them. They're going to struggle with it and they're not going to open it. You want it to be easy reading. So you will put these students at a level. This is something we couldn't do. You need to manually go in yourself, and you need to change each one. And again, make sure you tick that red box, the tick in the red box. The next one along, you can also change. Now, this gives you access, or give the students access to a range of different things. So one that is typically the most common one is saying, okay, the reading level that you have set. So Ross is on blue 9 to 11 for independent reading level. I'm going to give him more books. So I can say, okay, I'm going to give him that level and the next level below. So that gives him about 120 books that he can choose for easy reading. Now you can, it's very much teacher driven this, you can change it for whatever reason and whatever project or whatever way you're doing your guided reading, you can change that. So you can set it up to be reading group only if you like, which gives you the students only access to this reading group here, which we're going to do next. But I would say typically while you're just getting used to the program is set it up as one level below. Now that's one part of it. Now the next part is their reading group. So you can actually, now this is where I'm going to flick in between the student and the different types of reading groups. So you might go, okay, well, we've set him up on level 9 to 11 and level below, but I'm going to make this more structured. I want Ross to actually read 5 books from these book boxes. I want him to read for the week. He can read more if he wants, but it's more structured so the students know when they open up there and log in, they have to read those 5 books for the week. So how do you do that? You set up a reading group, an independent reading group level. Now, what else you can do in the reading group levels, you might say, okay, well, I'm going to do guided reading for the red level Tuesday at 10 o'clock. So they send them out a message, however you're sending out messages to your students, and you would say, okay, well, Ross, you're in the red group. We've got guided reading at 10 o'clock on Tuesday. Log in, please. So when the student logs in, you're also going to have a reading group for instructional reading. So you're going to put, we're going to go down here into the reading groups down here, and we're going to put the reading, instructional reading, the guided reading levels into this book box here. So when Ross logs in, he will see this level, and he will also see his reading group level. Now, if you want to, you can turn that reading group level access off. So even though it's sitting in here, you might get all their reading groups set up for the day, but you don't want them to see it until they actually log in, or 5 minutes before they log in. You want to give them access because you want it to be unseen text. So you have it turned off. So Ross still only gets to see reading level and reading level access. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to jump into Ross so you can see I've got it turned off. He will only see these two levels, and I'm going to go back in and turn it on, and you'll see that he sees this. And I'm going to then show you a few different groups. So just so you can get the concept of what I'm trying to get across here. So down here is a student login. And here's Ross here. So you've got all your students for that particular class. No avatars. And we just click into Ross. And here's Ross's level access. So he's got 9, 11, all the books in there, and the level below that. So you might think that's too easy and you only want to put him on the 9 to 11, not the lower ones, however you want to do it. Now you can see that's all he sees. Now I'm going to log back in as the teacher. I'm going to go back into manage class, and it's 5 minutes to 10 on Friday morning. I've got my instructional reading group set up. I now want to give Ross access to that. So I've turned it on. So I'm going to go back in and show you what Ross now views when just before he logs in. And there's his reader, and it's a good idea. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. You can see here instructional reading group, and he'll open that book and start reading, and they'll all have turns. So I'll log back out of Ross, and I'm going to log back in as the teacher. I'm doing this so you can see how, by me changing it, what the student actually views. So go back into manage class. And so you can set as many different groups up as you like. And I've actually got independent reading, instructional reading for red, but you can do it for all your different book boxes. Name them whatever you like. And I've also got one set up for an open project, because you might have, you might be working on a special project at school, utilize all these books for a special project for the student and actually allocate them into a group. So you just click on, working on animal science. So I've actually left that on, that group. So I've now jumped the book boxes. So it's different books in this group, and I've left it on. So if I jump back in as Ross, and Ross has got all those independent readers to read, but he's also working on a project. And I've assigned some books around animals for him to view to help him with his project. So you can see how different book boxes for different groups, for different projects, different independent reading, or different guided reading. And it's very much driven by you. You open and close and give the student access when you want them to have access. So how do you actually allocate those books into that group? So once you have completed this page here, the other columns is narration, which defaults to yes. They have to press play for it. And the quiz option always defaults to compulsory, but you can turn it optional. Now for the higher levels or special needs students, you can turn it to be optional if you like. So unless they've got someone there supporting them, turn it off if you like, or they can skip it. So it is very much up to you and your students. Once this has all been set up, you then need to put those books into these book boxes. So we've set up the groups, and now we've got to go in and put the books that we want to allocate, and that's done down the bottom here on reading groups. So on the right hand side you can see my reading groups here, and you can see this is the one book I've set up here, and then there's independent book boxes, and then we've got open project sport, open project animals, and then I'd flick it which particular group I want. How do you do that? You can go back into, when you filter your books, you can bookmark them, and it's really easy to do. There's a button, I'm going back into the book boxes now to show you. This is if you want to be specific and you want to filter them and sort them for a particular reason. You go into your book boxes and there's a bookmark down the bottom here as well where they all go. And let's just do toys. So I'm going to, we've already bookmarked all these. So, okay, shapes of the land. You can see it's got bookmark in the middle. You just click on bookmark. And you can see if you go into bookmarks down the bottom, these are all the books that I have marked for my reference. I want to use these for a particular reason. So you can bookmark them there. You can list them oldest to newest as well. So I'm going to go back into the reading box. And I'm going to set up the orange group. Now, how did I filter through? You can see all the ones that have a star there and the ones that don't. The ones that have a star are the ones I've bookmarked. So they're the ones that I want to use for a particular reason. So it just reminds you. So, okay, I want to put up in space and I want to put toys, and it's pretty much you just press plus and it drops it into the book box. And the reading group, sorry, I'm using book box, the reading group. So all the different reading groups that we looked at before, I've already done that. So I've just shown you how to actually add it. Now it shows you down the bottom here what level it is. See the pink? So it shows you it's a pink magenta level, the 1 to 2. And if they've finished reading them, instead of just closing them off and dropping them back, just click on the little file that's on the left-hand side. And the reason we do that is it tells you that this particular one has been read. You can read it over and over again. It just reminds you, oh, they've actually read that in that group already. Okay, so I'm going to then go back into my class list. Once you have set all that up and your reading books in your boxes, sorry, your books in your reading group, sorry to confuse you there, you need to go back into Manage Class and you're ready to generate your letters. As I was saying before, we just need to get the level set up and we want the kids reading. All the other things will flow in and you just press the little envelope and here you go, the student letters. Now, currently they're on a one document that, you know, you're supposed to print out and cut, but because of the remote learning, you can just, if you like, we use a snipping tool, but you might have something else and you can snip that. Or at the beginning, I was showing that student login letter. You can actually type that in for the student as well and send that letter with the parents. So it's up to you how you would like to do that. And I'm going to go back. Once you have done your reading levels, again, reading levels for independent reading, give them extra books for their level access, set up all your reading groups, have it for structured independent reading, have it for different reading, guided reading at the higher level that they're working towards, their instructional level, and also have groups for open projects or different things as well. You go into your reading groups and you allocate the books into those reading groups you've set up. Print your student letters and they're ready to go. There are other components to it and we've got statistics. The lesson plans are fantastic. They're with each book. Now they are quite comprehensive, so please have a look at them because they have all the instructions for guided reading there for you. You can actually go through every single step and you can take out, they've got comprehensive activities, they've got writing focus, whatever you like, you can actually go through those and take out what you like. They're really fantastic. Now, scrolling down here, you can see we have other information, class statistics. So it's an overview for the teacher to see how the students are going, how many books they've read, how many they've read for the week, how their quiz is going. Like they might be fluently reading, but their quiz component's not going too well. You can switch it between home and school use. Again, don't worry too much about the statistics now because you won't have any. Get the kids up and reading, get their levels right and just get those letters out there, get them reading. Then the statistics will start coming in, have a little look at them. You can see individual students as well. And I'm going to finish up in a minute so we can have an open question. But just you can see here how many readers they've read for the week. I haven't read any there, but it gives you information, how long they took to read it, when they read it, what time, all that sort of information, what levels they've read. How, are they rereading versus reading the books? Are they listening to the narration? Do they prefer fiction over non-fiction? And this little section down here, if you remember me talking about the quiz results. Now, if you click see all quiz results up the top, you can see this gives you an overview. You can actually print out letters here, and you can also view. So at the end, you just click view, and it gives you the questions and which ones they got right and wrong. The students can actually get to view that as well. And again, you can switch from home to school. So we have other reader records down the bottom as well. Again, don't be caught up too much about these. Get the kids reading, then have a look into it. They're quite straightforward. You can see it just gives you an overview of how their reading is going, how many readers. You can switch between reading groups as well and open projects. Whatever you might do, you can switch, but you can see I haven't got actually any data. I've just set that group up today. So here we go. We're going to have an open forum. So if there's any questions, I'll have a look at the chat. I'm sure my friend and colleague Louise has answered them fantastic as usual. And I'll just have a little look. I can see the bit. Can you see it? Can you see it? I'll put my screen back up. Okay, so if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask away. Turn your video and your microphone on, something I've been telling you not to do the whole time, and see if I can answer you.
Hi, Julie.
Hey.
Great webinar. Just a question: can students record? Is there like a recording device on here?
Please?
No,
Oh,
like so
when they're reading.
Yeah, when they're reading, is there an option for them to record themselves reading?
Okay, not within the Wushka program, but
okay.
I'm recording right now. So
yeah.
This is Zoom. So there are a lot of the, I'll just put that channel. There are a lot of, Louise has just said program coordinator creates new classes, and now she's answering someone else. So you can use the platform you're using usually has a record. I know Zoom does, I know TeamViewer has. So you can use that third-party platform to do that, but Wushka doesn't have it, no.
Okay, all right, awesome, thank you.
That's okay, thank you. Just having a look through. Louise is just answering David. Anyone else have any questions at all regarding the program? The best feedback I can give you guys, and Louise and I both launched it 4 years ago, is how much students love Wushka. And I was on a session yesterday and a lady jumped on, she said all the different platforms we've got running at the moment, and she asked the students what they would like to do, and they said we want to do Wushka. We want to read Wushka, which is fantastic feedback. So, you know, hopefully you have the same experience with your students. You know, we're a little bit biased, but I'm giving the feedback from the actual teachers, which is great. Just having a little look through, see if Louise says the lesson plans. Is there a colour version of the wordless books? No, not at the moment. Scrolling down. We're always adding to Wushka as well. We've added about 25 books in the last year and a half. We're adding support material, which we have, you know, the last few weeks as well. So we're always adding to the program, which is fantastic. And, you know, we've got schools that have been on it since the launch of it, and they might have started off with, say, 5 classes, and then they've added the whole school. We can always add students. We can always add classes on for you. After this is free until the end of June, and it's only $5 a student to the end of January next year. So for what you get, I think it's a fantastic resource. We also have other digital programs if you are interested called ST Maths. So again, support at wushka.com.au if you would like that information. And we also have, if you want any of the documents that I've talked about today, please let us know on wushka.com. Can I share a recorded webinar with the rest of my team? Yes, you can, Sam. Just put a request in at support@wushka.com and we will send it out to you and you can share it. And that's a really good question because there might be one or two teachers that get the opportunity to jump on one of these, and I'm offering schools within my area one-on-one, and there's that opportunity as well if time permits for everybody. But we can send these videos out to you, and please forward them on to all your fellow colleagues within the school. Okay. Great tool, yeah, it is. Okay, I'm just scrolling down, looking at all the questions. If there's anything you'd like me to go over and demonstrate again, let me know. There was quite a bit of information there. I'm happy to go over anything again. Okay, well, it looks like there's where do I find the quiz results again? Okay. Where can I find the quiz? Right, so if I go quiz results, so Sarah, in your statistics here, you go into student statistics. And I'm going to choose my class. You will probably only have one class. I've just set up a whole lot. Your coordinator will probably be in all the classes. And if this is all your statistics, again, this is what your students get to see, and their parents will also get to see. Now, if you scroll down here, you can see quiz results. Now, just one thing I didn't show you, the students won't see quiz results here. They have to actually hover over where the book was read and click more. And if they click more, this is where they get their results here. You can actually run a report. So here, see all quiz results. So you click on that and view on the right-hand side, and there's your report. So again, just on your, you can flick down for each student, but I've got data in Ross. And you can actually generate a class quiz report if you like. You can see down the bottom right-hand side. And you just click view here for each book, and it'll give you, and you can do it for home and school. You can see on the right-hand side, you can actually flick it. You can do for home or school or for both. Okay, I'll just have a look on the chat. Okay, she answered that one. Okay, excellent. Thanks, Louise. Well, hopefully you all know how to get up and going, get started and set your reading levels and generate the student letters. And we'll send out the recording to anybody that would like a copy of it. And if you have, I'm going to end this session. So thank you all for joining us, and enjoy Wushka, have fun. And we will contact support@wushka.com or your MTA rep anytime if you need support, we're here to help you. We want you to have a great experience on the program and the students. And if you want to drop off, I'll just keep it running for a little bit longer, for a couple more minutes, and then I'll switch it off. Thanks, everyone. Oh, that's good, Paulina. That's great. Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks, Sarah. Okay, guys, I'm going to switch off now. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe and enjoy Wushka. Thank you. Bye.